folks. Back in January I bought this little Crosstour action camera. It only cost me about £35 and I didn't expect too much for my money. But it's turned out to be a brilliant little camera. I use it in all my YouTube videos and it's absolutely fantastic value for money. It cost me about £35. Now what I've started doing is using it on my bike when I go out on the cycle rides with the cycle club. And quite a few people have asked me various questions about what sort of card do I use in it, what about the battery, how long does it last, how do you fit it on the bike, etc. So I thought I'd make this little video to address those questions, and it might be of help to some people. So the first thing I'll do is show you the camera on the bike. Here's the little camera now fitted on the bike. I will go into more detail in a moment, but I just thought I'd show it actually on the bike so you can see how it's working. When you get to the cafe stop or anywhere you're going and you want to leave the bike, you can easily just unclip it, just clip in the top like that, and the camera comes out and you can pop it in your pocket and take it with you so that it doesn't get stolen, and it's very simple to pop back in again like that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you a few more details of the camera before we go any farther. When you buy the camera, there's the little camera there, look. When you buy the camera, it does come with a wide range of fittings. This is not all of them by any means. I've just put a few of the selected ones here. Now I don't want to go into too much detail of the fittings because I've done 2 other videos covering those, so I'm just going to talk about the ones that pertain to cycling and fitting it on your bicycle. So the first method you can use to fit it on your bicycle is this one. This is a little self-adhesive pad, and the idea is you stick that on your helmet or a flat surface, and then this piece here, the camera fits on the top here, and then you slide that in there so you can have it on your helmet. The only problem with that is I found that you nod your head about a lot, you know, over every bump, and it's not very stable and you don't get very clear footage, so I don't use that one, but it is a way. The other way is this is an actual fitting that fits around the handlebars. As you can see, it adjusts and you screw it onto the handlebars, and the camera fits on top, and you've got adjustments for fore and aft and up and down, and that's the type I generally use. There's another type, which is this one, which has got a quick release mechanism on, rather like you've got on your cycle rear wheel, and you can clamp that round a larger tube. Has a tripod thread on the top with a little locking nut. That's quite a good little fit-in, but actually I don't use that because you don't need quick release. So that's basically the fittings, and now I'll go on the bike and I'll show you the camera fitted on the bike. Now here you can see the fitting already on the bicycle. It's just clamped on underneath with the 2 knurled knobs, whatever you call them. They're quite easy to use, and then you've got another knob here which controls the movement that way, and another one here which controls it that way. Here you can see the camera fitted on the bicycle handlebars ready. This is the view you get when you're riding along. Now we come to the problems of using the camera on the bike. The first problem is the batteries. If you're filming in 4K, you only get around about just over an hour, I would imagine, of film before the battery runs out. Now here's a little battery here. Now you do get 2 batteries with the camera, but there is a problem with that, in that it's not easy to change the battery. To change the battery, you have to undo this little clip here, slide that little plate off there, and the battery drops out. Sounds easy, but actually it's quite a fiddle. I find it a fiddle with my great big ugly hands. So it is a fiddle to change. You can change it, but it is a fiddle. The other problem with it is that if you change the battery, the camera then loses all the information, such as the date and time, which could be important to you if you're using it like a dash camera to record events, and you will lose the date and time. You can of course reset it on the move, but it is a hassle. It's alright for young people, they can do it very quickly, but old fogies like me, I'll fiddle about for ages with it. So it's not that practical to change the battery on the move. There is a way around it though, and that is to buy yourself one of these. This is just a simple power bank. I bought this one from B&M stores. This is in the UK. It was only about £6 or something like that. If you use this, all you do is get a mini USB lead like so, plug it into your, plug in there. If you then plug that into the camera like so, get the plug the right way around, won't you? They're always a fiddle to get the right way around, these plugs. If you plug the camera in now, the camera is now powered up by the power bank, you'll see the lights have already come on. It's already knows it's actually it turns it on by connecting like that. Now, if you wanted to, while you're having your lenses stop, you could leave it plugged in and it will charge the little battery up. But that's not the main reason for doing it. The main reason is that if you connect that up to the power bank, you could now change the battery and it will retain all the information because you've got it powered up. So that is one way of changing the battery. But it still doesn't solve the problem, because even with 2 batteries, you're only going to get really 2.5, maybe 3 if you're lucky hours of filming, which may not be enough for a morning ride even, let alone an all-day ride. So what I do, I have this power bank. I ride a touring bicycle. I've got a Dawes Super Galaxy, which is a touring bike, and I always have a saddlebag to carry all my little accoutrements and things in. Gloves, etc., coats, capes, you know, you name it, I've got it in there, tools. So what I do, I put the power bank in the saddlebag, and then I've got a 1.5 metre USB lead, which I run along the top tube and up to the handlebars, and I simply put this in the saddlebag, and I've got an instant power lead, and it will power the camera in this little frame. I can power the camera all day basically. With that power pack, it's never run out. I mean, I've got 9 hours out of it, no problem at all, and it's still got some charge in it. So in my case, that is the solution. Now, a lot of people don't like having wires on their bikes, so they'll have to find some other way of doing it, but that's the way I do it. Now, even doing it that way, there is a slight problem, which I'm going to talk about now. The problem is the weather. Now, obviously, as I mentioned, I always have the camera in this little frame, and that's perfect, no problem whatsoever, until it rains. Because if it rains, the camera's going to get wet and it will damage it, because it's not waterproof. So what do? Well, up to now I've been lucky, and I've only been out a couple of times in the rain, and I've simply whipped the camera off, stuck it in my pocket, when the rain stops, put it back on again. But you could miss some interesting footage that way. So what do? Well, there's 2 ways round it, as I say. One is you can use the little waterproof case. That's fine, you pop the camera in there, it's completely waterproof. That solves the problem, but it doesn't solve the problem of having a power lead, because you can't connect a power lead to it when the camera's in the case. The other problem is the sound. When you've got it sealed in the case, the microphone won't hear any sounds. That might not be important to you, it might not matter, but it is a thing. Now, the camera does come with 2 covers. This one is a solid cover, it's sealed up with a seal. The cover I've got on there has got 2 slots. Now, some people have suggested that the 2 slots are to put a strap in, or it's to let the air in. Well, that's not the reason. The reason for the 2 slots, of course, is to allow the sound to penetrate the case, so the microphone can at least pick some of the sound up. So that's why I've got the one with the slots in. However, with the slots in, of course, the case isn't fully waterproof, is it? So we've still got the problem. Now, the 2 ways I can think of as follows is that if you put your camera in this waterproof case and you want to connect the power lead, it means what you're going to have to do is cannibalise the case a little bit. What I thought of doing was cutting a little slot in the side of the case so I can put this power connector through to connect the cable. Of course, that will sacrifice the case, so to speak, and it won't be completely waterproof. I could put some blue tack or something around the cable where it goes in to make it waterproof when I'm riding it. So that's one way. The only other way I thought of doing it was to leave the camera in its little frame here, like I normally do, and just carry a bit of cling film or something, and when it rains, just pop it over the camera. As long as it's clear enough over the lens, I can't see it be a problem. I've not tried it yet, so don't take my word for it, but I'm going to try it next time I go out. I'm going to carry a piece with me, and if it rains, I'm going to pop it over, wrap the camera up, if you like, in cling film, and I don't see it as a problem. But if there is, I'll let you know later. There is another problem, and that is the recording time. Now, the camera records on a... Again, I've covered this in full detail on one of my other videos, so I won't say too much, but the camera uses a micro SD card, the same as what you use in your mobile phone. The makers of the camera suggest that you can use a maximum of 32 gigabytes in it. Now, other sources say 64 gigabytes, and I definitely know a 64 gigabytes will work because I've used it. But in actual fact, if you look at mine closely, I don't know, you probably can't see it on the camera because it's so tiny, 128 gigabytes, which the manufacturers say won't work, does work. I've got that in the camera and I've been using it for many months like that. And with that, you can get a full 9 hours of recording at 4K resolution on the camera, providing the battery will stand it, obviously. So I think that's the answer. They're very cheap to buy now, these things, so I find that even though they say it won't work, it works perfectly fine, and I get 4K from using that card. Do bear in mind though that the camera records in 15-minute segments, roughly 15 minutes. Although you won't notice, when you take the recording, if you edit them together, it is seamless. You don't notice the join at all. It's very, very good. But it will be in 15-minute segments, and each segment at 4K, you're talking over 3 GB file size, so it is quite large. And for editing purposes, it is quite computer intensive, you might say, so you need a powerful computer. So if you haven't got such a powerful computer and a decent editing program, it's probably better to record in a lower resolution in the first place. There is one other issue I should mention before I finish. Get yourself one of these. This is an SD card reader to transfer the files from the card. Do not try, especially if you're using 4K, do not try plugging the camera in. The manufacturers tell you to use this little lead, connect the camera to your computer and download the files off the camera onto the computer. My advice is don't. It will take you forever and you'll lose the will to live. The simple answer is buy one of these. You can get these from eBay or Amazon anywhere. I paid something like £5 for this. This is a little Balkeel card reader. It's USB 3, which is important. Do make sure you get USB 3. Don't get USB 2 because it'd be hopeless, as bad as using the camera. If you get a USB card reader, you pop your little card, pop your little SD card in there, plug it in a USB 3 port, coloured blue on the computer, make sure it's a USB 3, it will download those files from that card as quick as a flash. Even the large 3 GB ones only take a matter of seconds. If you download them off the camera using USB 2, you'll be you could go and have your dinner while it's doing it. It's so slow, and you lose the will to live actually. And make sure it's USB 3, and make sure you plug it into USB 3 port, because your computer will have USB 2 and USB 3. Either will work, but 2 will be very, very much slower. USB 3, they're coloured blue. Use USB 3. Okay, here's the camera fitted on the bike, and here's my little power lead. I'm just going to plug this in, and you'll notice the camera should then activate and turn on automatically. There you go. Now the camera's turning on ready. Now if you look at the screen, I'll move the camera in a bit closer if I can. Now if you look at the screen, it's turned on. You'll notice the top here is gone to a red colour. This indicates that it's using an external power source. Down at the bottom here, this is the time left on the card for recording, and you'll notice when you turn it on to record, that will change to red. So I'm going to do that now. I'm just going to press the OK button on the top. Now you'll see that's gone red, and that will now count down the time. There's a little red dot flashing there. That is now recording. That will now keep on recording until I decide to stop it. To stop the recording, just press the button once. Now it's gone back to white, as you can see. And to turn it off, you just press the button on the front and hold it in for a second or so, and then the camera will turn off automatically. To turn it back on again, just press the button on the front, or unplug and plug in the power lead. When you're riding along, after a few minutes, according to what time you got set in the camera, the screen will go off to save battery power, so you won't see anything on the screen. So what happens is, if you want to see what's on the screen and you're riding along and it's recording, if you press the OK button, the screen will come on and it will still record, but you press it a second time, that will stop it. So in other words, pressing the button once won't stop recording when the screen's off. You need to press it twice, if that's clear. This is just a short clip taken from one of my cycling films using the camera at 4K resolution. It has been heavily compressed over YouTube. Well, I think we've covered just about everything there is about the camera now. I'm sure I've forgotten something. If there's anything you'd like to ask, please feel free to ask in the comments section. I'm always glad to receive comments, and I'm always happy to give any advice if I possibly can. I'm not an expert on these cameras, as I said before, I'm new to them really, but I think they are astounding. The value is incredible. For the sake of, I think I paid £35, it's fantastic. I use it in all my videos. Except this one, because I couldn't use it because I was making a film about it, annoyingly. But I wish I'd had two actually, because it would have been very useful. All I can say is thank you very much for watching my videos. Oh, and by the way, if you're interested in bicycle videos, this is my Dawes Super Galaxy. It's a 1989 model, and recently I have refurbished it. I resprayed it, I stripped it down to base metal and completely resprayed it. And if you look on my YouTube channel, you will find quite a few videos covering that respray, if you're interested, that is. Anyway, that's all for now. Bye for now, folks, and thanks for watching. Bye.